You think your kitchen is clean. You wipe it down every week. But what if I told you that right now, inches from your face, there's a layer of invisible grime, bacteria, and years of cooked-on grease hiding in the grain of your wood? Most people are destroying their expensive wood cabinets with the wrong cleaners, stripping the finish, warping the wood, and leaving behind a sticky trap for more dirt. Today, I'm going to show you the only method professional restorers use to deep clean wood cabinets without damaging them. And step number 3, it's the mistake 90% of homeowners make that ruins their finish forever. Let's fix it. Before we touch a single sponge, we need to understand why wood is so difficult. Unlike laminate or metal, wood is porous. It breathes. When you spray a generic all-purpose cleaner, especially those containing ammonia, bleach, or even straight vinegar, you aren't just cleaning, you're chemically attacking the lignin, the natural glue that holds wood fibers together. Over time, this causes the finish to cloud, the wood to dry out and crack, and the color to fade. I've seen $10,000 custom kitchens ruined in under 2 years because the owner thought more soap equals cleaner. It doesn't. In fact, excessive soap leaves a residue that attracts more dirt, creating a cycle of filth that gets harder to remove every month. Today, we break that cycle. We are going to use a pH-neutral approach that lifts grease without stripping the sealant. Let's gather our arsenal. You don't need expensive gadgets, you need the right tools. First, microfiber cloths, not paper towels. Paper towels leave lint and can scratch delicate finishes if they have any abrasive texture. You want high GSM microfiber, ideally split into 2 piles, one for washing, one for drying. Second, a soft bristled brush. An old toothbrush works perfectly for crevices. Third, your cleaning solution. We are making a simple, safe mix. 1 gallon of warm water, not hot as heat can damage the finish, and 2 tablespoons of mild dish soap like Dawn Ultra. That's it. No vinegar, no bleach, no essential oils that can gum up the works. If you have heavily waxed cabinets, you might need a dedicated wood cleaner like Murphy's Oil Soap. But for most modern polyurethane or lacquer finishes, the soap and water method is superior because it rinses clean. Finally, empty your cabinets. Yes, all of them. You cannot properly clean the interior frames or the exterior doors if they are cluttered. This is also the perfect time to toss expired spices and cracked dishes. Here is where everyone fails. They wet a rag and start wiping. Stop. If you add water to dry dust, you create mud. That mud gets pushed into the corners and the grain where it hardens. Step 1 is always dry dusting. Take a clean, dry microfiber cloth and gently wipe down every surface. Start from the top cabinets and work your way down. Gravity is your friend here. Dust falls. Pay special attention to the tops of the upper cabinets. In many American homes, this area is a graveyard for grease and dust bunnies that haven't been touched in years. If you have high ceilings, use an extendable duster. Remove all that loose debris before it ever touches water. You'll be surprised at how much comes off. This step alone makes the actual cleaning 50% faster. Now we mix our solution. Remember, warm water, 2 tablespoons of dish soap. Dip your microfiber cloth into the bucket and wring it out until it is damp, not soaking. A soaking wet cloth is the enemy of wood. Water can seep into seams and cause the wood to swell or the veneer to peel. We want damp. Start with the cabinet doors. Wipe with the grain of the wood, never scrub in circles. Circular motions leave streaks and can swirl dirt into the finish. Long, smooth strokes following the wood's natural pattern. For flat panel cabinets, this is easy. For raised panel or shaker-style cabinets, you need to be meticulous. Use your soft bristled toothbrush dipped in the soapy water to gently agitate the corners and the intricate details where grease loves to hide. You'll see the grayish-brown residue lifting. It's satisfying, but it's also a bit disgusting. That's years of cooking oil coming off. Rinse your cloth frequently in a separate bucket of clean water if possible, or just change the water when it gets dirty. Working in sections is key. Do 2 or 3 doors at a time, then move to the next step before the soap dries on the surface. The handles and knobs are the germiest parts of your kitchen. Studies have shown they harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. Because they are touched constantly with greasy hands, they build up a thick, sticky layer. For hardware, if it's removable, take it off and soak it in a bowl of warm, soapy water for 10 minutes. Scrub it with a toothbrush. If it's not removable, wrap a cloth around it and let it sit for a minute to loosen the gunk, then scrub gently. Be careful around the screws. You don't want water sitting in the screw holes. For the cabinet frames around the handles, use the toothbrush again. This is the detail work that separates an amateur job from a pro job. If you have stubborn grease spots that won't come off with soap, you can use a tiny amount of rubbing alcohol on a cloth, but test it in an inconspicuous area. Alcohol can dissolve some finishes, so use it sparingly and only as a last resort. Never use steel wool or abrasive scouring pads. They will scratch the finish permanently, and once the finish is compromised, the wood underneath is vulnerable to moisture and stains. This is the most important step. Soap residue is what makes cabinets feel sticky after they dry. You must remove the soap. Take a second microfiber cloth, dampen it with plain, clean water, wring it out well, and wipe down the areas you just cleaned. This rinses away the soap and the suspended dirt. Immediately after rinsing, take a third dry microfiber cloth and buff the surface dry. Do not let air drying happen. Water spots can form, and prolonged moisture exposure is bad for the wood. Buffing also helps bring out the natural shine of the finish. You should see the reflection improve as you dry. If you're working on a large kitchen, this might feel tedious, but it's the difference between a clean cabinet and a protected cabinet. Work top to bottom, left to right, so you don't miss any spots. Once everything is clean and completely dry, you have a choice. Do you need to polish? For modern finishes, polyurethane, lacquer, or varnish, no, these finishes are designed to be durable and don't need feeding. In fact, using furniture polish like Pledge on kitchen cabinets can create a buildup that attracts dust and makes future cleaning harder. However, if you have older oil-finished wood or unfinished wood, you might want to apply a thin coat of beeswax or a specific wood conditioner. Apply it sparingly with a clean cloth, let it sit for 10 minutes, then buff it off. This adds a layer of protection against moisture and gives a beautiful, warm luster. For most viewers, though, the clean, dry finish is enough. The goal is hygiene and preservation, not just shine. So, how often should you do this? A quick dry dust weekly, a damp wipe down monthly, a deep clean like this every 3 to 6 months depending on how much you cook. If you fry foods often, you might need to do it quarterly. To keep them clean longer, wipe up splatters immediately. Don't let grease sit, and always use exhaust fans when cooking to reduce airborne grease settling on your cabinets. If you found this helpful, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe if you want more practical guides that save you money and keep your home in top shape. And let me know in the comments, what's the worst stain you've ever had on your cabinets? I read every comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.